Hi, hello and welcome. In this video we will see how we can uh, get the data from Sanity IO into Gatsby website or a web application built using Gatsby framework. In this on my screen you can see this is the Gatsby npm page. So in order to install and get started with Gatsby, we have to first install Gatsby CLI with -d, that is globally, and then once it is installed, then we can start uh, a new project with Gatsby name. So I already have Gatsby CLI installed. I'll go ahead with Gatsby new, and over here what we'll do is we will set up bare minimum project with no plugin. We will do it manually. We will install a plugin manually, and we'll see how we can source the data or get the data from Sanity into our Gatsby project. So let me head over to the terminal. Yeah, so in this directory I want to set up my project. So I will go with Gatsby new. That's what it says here. So over here it will ask us for a couple of questions. So let me name this boots. Like I'll try to build something regarding boots Gatsby. We'll keep the name as this, and we'll go ahead with JavaScript. And over here we will not select any CMS. We will set up it on our own. But yeah, if you're starting a new project and you know that you will be using this particular CMS, everything is decided, so for sure you can go ahead and select one of the CMS. Otherwise I'll show you how we can do it. And no styling system, and we'll go with done. So now this should set up our project, and once done I'll open it on my editor, and then we'll go through the. So our project is set up. So we'll just go into the directory, that's boots, and you can see our project is there. I'll just open this project in the editor to see what all files we have. So this is the project we just installed, we just set up, and over here you can see it's bare minimum. We have nothing much actually in the project, and this is the file gatsby-config.js, where we set up the plugins, the site metadata, like setting up the proxy. If we go at the package.json, you can see we don't have anything other than Gatsby. So coming back to the topic of the video, so what we want is we want to source the data from Sanity. So we all know that Sanity is CMS. So there is actually a plugin that we have to use to achieve what we want to do. So what we can do is we can go to Gatsby website over here. So this is the home page of Gatsby. So in order to what we can do is we can go into the we can go to the plugins, the list of plugins that are available. We can go there. That is in the open source. You can see Gatsby plugins. So once we come here, you can see there are multiple plugins. So we need for Sanity, which is CMS. So like if we click on CMS, it will show a list of CMS plugins that it has. So we are looking for Sanity. So once we click on it, so you can see this is the uh, Gatsby source Sanity plugin that we have to use to source the data from Sanity. So there are this plugins is actually a two-step process. One is first we have to install, as it is just an npm package, but installing does not uh, activate the package. I mean, just installing is not enough. We have to add the package into the plugin, if it is a plugin. So over here you can see how do we install. We just have to run npm install Gatsby source Sanity. So this is the first step. So we'll go here and we will install Gatsby source Sanity. Now the next thing that we have to do is from the documentation itself, the plugin documentation will actually mention this over here, that either we can if there is no configuration involved, then we can directly put the name of the plugin inside the plugins array. But because we need to provide some configuration for the Sanity, like the project ID, data set, and if there are other things that we want to provide, so that is why we will have to provide an object where the resolve key will have the value of the plugin name, and then whatever configuration we have to give, we can put it in the options object. So if we go back to what we can do is we can just copy this and we'll go to plugins, and over here we'll just paste it. So over here this is all we have to do in order to activate the plugin. The thing is, the next thing is we have to provide the correct data set and the project ID, and we don't have any private data set, so I will not be using the token. I have kept a public data set, and over here we'll come back to GraphQL tag. For now we'll just comment it. Now to get the project ID for Sanity, what we have to do is we have to go to the we have to go to sanity.io/manage. Maybe I'll just go there. So sanity.io/manage. So over there you can see the list of projects that you have in Sanity. So once you click on the project that you want to integrate, so you can see the project ID. Just click on it and we'll go to the Gatsby project. In the Gatsby config.js, we'll put the correct project ID and the dataset, whatever dataset you wish to integrate or you wish to source the data from. So the datasets that I have is just one, which is production, and it is public. So I'll go here and I'll type production. So now our plugin is ready. The only thing we have to do is we have to we have to source the data, but there is in Gatsby we don't have we just have to start writing a query, but there is one step that we have to do in the Sanity project, and that is we have to, because from Gatsby we will be using GraphQL to fetch the data from Sanity, but by default Sanity provides grok, that is GROQ, for querying data. So in order to use GraphQL in Sanity, we have to deploy GraphQL APIs, and that's a single command that we have to run. So I'll just switch to the the Sanity project. So this is a very basic Sanity project. Over here you can see we have only, if I go to the schema, we have only 3 document type document schemas, and this was actually when we set up a Sanity project. So this is a starter project that we get for the e-commerce along with some sample data. So this is exactly the same project. Now we'll try to deploy the GraphQL APIs for this project. So before that, we will try to list if there are any GraphQL APIs already deployed. So the command to do that is Sanity GraphQL list. So over here we can see it says this project doesn't have any GraphQL endpoint deployed. So there is no GraphQL endpoint deployed yet. So what we'll do is we'll deploy one right now. So the command to deploy GraphQL APIs is Sanity GraphQL deploy. Now if we run this, so the GraphQL endpoints will be deployed for the dataset mentioned in the sanity.json. Yeah, so the dataset that is mentioned here, which is production, so the GraphQL APIs will be deployed for production dataset. But if we have some other dataset that we want to deploy the GraphQL APIs, so for that we have to do something like this dataset, and we can say, let's say, staging. So we don't have staging dataset for this project, so if we want to, we can deploy it this way. Really, so we'll first deploy this. So over here it is asking, do you want to enable GraphQL playground? So we'll hit yes. So there is another way where we can skip this question, because we can provide it directly in the command line. So over here you can see this is our GraphQL endpoint provided by Sanity. So over here you can see this is the project ID, API sanity.io, GraphQL, production is the dataset, and default is the tag name. So let's say if you want to deploy for a specific tag, like let's say we want to deploy two or multiple GraphQL endpoints for the same dataset, so we can do something like this. I'll first try to list. I'll first show you GraphQL list. So over here you can see we have only one endpoint with tag as default. So if we don't give any tag name, it will be default. Now if you want to deploy another GraphQL API for the same dataset, so we can maybe give a tag name like this tag, and let's say alpha, and if we hit enter, now it will deploy, and again the same question will be asked whether we want to set up the GraphQL playground. Now over here you can see this is production dataset, but the tag is alpha. So if now we try to list all the GraphQL endpoints, so we have two now, one with tag name as default, the other one is alpha. And one last thing I'll quickly tell before we proceed further, like we can like every time we deploy, it asks us for a question whether you want to set up a playground or not. So what we can do is if you want to, like, if you don't want the playground, or if you want the playground, we can pass something like playground whenever we run the command for deploy. Or if we don't want, so we can just go ahead with no playground. So in this way it will not ask us. So let's deploy for tag beta no playground. So this, it will not ask us for any question whether you want to set up or not, and definitely there is no playground as well. So over here we can see we have beta, and if you want to undeploy, that also we can do. It's Sanity GraphQL undeploy. So once we run this, so it will ask us for this for this question. So if we hit yes, so yeah, it is deleted. Now if we try to list, so you can see that we have alpha and beta. The default is gone because we did not give any tag name here. Okay, fine. So I will undeploy alpha and beta. And beta, and oh sorry, I did not give the tag name. And alpha. Now if we list it, so we don't have any endpoints, so we'll just deploy for the default one, which is Sanity GraphQL deploy. Now it will deploy in the default tag, and it is deployed. GraphQL endpoints API is deployed. So and it will give us a link where we can navigate, and we can run GraphQL queries. Similarly, similar endpoint, similar GraphQL playground is provided by Gatsby as well. So we'll quickly navigate to the Gatsby project. Yeah, so as we have already given the plugin, we'll just start the project and then develop. So once we run this, over here it will give us the GraphQL endpoint. So we have got some error, and if we look at it, it says type with name Gatsby image layout does not exist. I think we'll have to install one plugin. I'll just cancel this setup, and we will install npm install Gatsby plugin image, and we'll just try to add this plugin in our list of plugins inside the Gatsby config, like how we added for Gatsby source Sanity. And I'll just save, and we'll run develop once again, and let's see if this works. Okay, so this has worked. Now you can see there are two URLs Gatsby provides us. One is the local 8000 and one with triple_ GraphQL. So we'll just go click on it. So this is the playground, what I was talking about. So this is the URL that Gatsby gives us for GraphQL. And similarly, if we go to the URL, so this is the home page. This is the starter template index page which we got. This is the Sanity Studio for the project we built on Sanity. You can see there are product, vendor, category. So in this video we'll try to pull maybe the categories, list of categories, and we'll try to display it on the web page and the Gatsby page. So we'll just try to query the categories. So over here you can see on the left hand side in the Explorer, whenever we deploy Sanity GraphQL APIs, we are actually given we can for each schema of type document there are actually two top level queries that are deployed. One is the name of the schema, like we have category, we have product and vendor. So these three are deployed and it will prepend with Sanity. And another top level query that is deployed is all Sanity category, all Sanity product, and all Sanity vendor. So there are two for each document type, one with all and one with just Sanity and the schema name. With all, actually it returns a list, and with just Sanity category it will return only one. We have to actually provide a filter, so the ID or something. So over here we need a list of all the categories. So we will go to all Sanity category. So as soon as we so over here we'll go one by one. So so as soon as we come here in the on the all Sanity, so what we can do is this is like limit and skip is for pagination. Then if we want to provide a filter, we can provide it by just selecting, or we can type as well. Similarly, min max, and if we want a list, so we'll click on nodes. Now what we want here is the title, and let's say the description as well. So we'll go into the nodes, and for each we need a title, and we need the description, and let's slug, we'll just we don't need the slug. So over here we can see we have all the categories with title and description, but over here some of the categories don't have the description. So maybe we can use some filter to filter out null entries. So we can say we want a description not equal to, so the description we don't want. So so once we run, so you can see we have 1, 2, 3 categories, and all three have a description. So what we will do is we can maybe run this query in Gatsby, and then we can try to fetch the data. So in order to do that, we have to go to we'll go to the Gatsby project, and this is Sanity. In the Gatsby project we'll go to the index page. So index page has a lot of pre-filled data, so we'll just remove all of that because we don't need any of that. and in here maybe we can keep the h1 in everything inside no, here maybe we can type categories, and inside maybe we can put some unordered list, and in here we will try to we don't need this. Yeah, in here we will try to list the categories and the description. So this we have removed. Now how it will be we will basically be writing a page query. So there are two types of queries in Gatsby, with page query which will write on the page, and another query is using the static query, use static query hook, which we can write on the components. So for the page query we will write something like this. This is very much similar to get static props in Next.js. So const, let's say query, and over here we will be writing the GraphQL query. So we can do something like Gatsby provides named export of GraphQL. So we will type GraphQL, and then inside this we have to write the query. So another way, either we can write or we can just copy this whole thing and we can paste it here. So this is exactly what we want, and yeah, so now the thing is it will return the data will be returned in the index page as a prop. So the data that is returned as a prop will destructure it, destructure data basically, and then what we can do is maybe we'll say the categories, because it's going to be a list. Categories, it will be a list where it will not be directly the data will have, first thing is data will have data dot all sanity category dot nodes. So this is something that we will have to do it. So now nodes basically has all the result. So now categories is an array, so we can iterate through each of the item of the category dot map. Let's say category I for index, and then we want to return maybe we can do something like we will have h1 we already have, so we'll go with h2. We'll have the title, title, and then maybe in the paragraph we can put the description, category dot description. Now every item in the list will have that styling, so maybe we can remove that. Let's list type as none, so that we don't have that styling. And now if we go to the so here you can see we have the categories. If we have the title and we have the description coming from Sanity. So I hope this video is good, and if you have any questions please post it in the comment section. Thank you.